The Denver Nuggets defeated the Minnesota Timberwolves 115 to 107. This was an amazing game. I really enjoyed it. I would say Rudy Tomjanovich has this famous line in which he said way back in 95 when his Houston Rockets, who were underdogs despite being defending champions, ended up going on an unprecedented run at the time, still is, as a 6th seed to go on and win an NBA title. The first time in NBA history that happened. And when they won their second championship, he said, never underestimate the heart of a champion. And I felt this line really applies to the Nuggets tonight. Just they showed their determination these last two games to come back in the series when after the first two games, it really looked like they were going to get swept. That just it was that embarrassing. They've come back with resiliency that you have to respect. Just even if you're not a fan of them, you gotta respect their attitude of just never giving up, never dying, refusing to quit. That's very inspirational stuff. So you got to give them credit for that. It's been amazing to watch. I've enjoyed it. I'm neutral. I have no dog in the fight in the series, but I've enjoyed this. This has been great. Now I will say this: the Minnesota Timberwolves made some mistakes in this game that they're going to regret. When you're playing a team like Denver, it's a mental thing as much as it's a talent thing when it comes to beating them. I felt that Minnesota mentally lost this game late in the second quarter. In the final, I would say the final like 30 seconds, really. They were on a run. They had cut the Nuggets lead to 7 points. And then they double team Jokic, and he finds KCP for a three, and that extends the lead back to 10. And after that, they inbounds the ball. Jokic, I believe, steals it, and then he throws a pass all the way towards the end of the court to Michael Porter Jr. for an easy dunk. That pushes the lead back to 12. And then the final insult to injury was Jamal Murray intercepting a pass and hitting a shot behind the back beyond the backcourt, just hitting it all the way from downtown beyond the half court line. He hits that shot and just it takes the wind out of the sails for the Wolves because they end up going down 15 when 30 seconds ago they had cut the lead down to 7. And I think that was when they lost the game. Just it didn't matter what happened afterwards. Just the momentum wasn't on their side. Just it was really a dagger. I felt that sequence for them because after halftime they did fight hard. Anthony Edwards, that is, he fought valiantly. He tried to lead his team back, but it was like they could never get over the hump. They would cut the lead down to like 9 or 10 points, and then the Nuggets would push it back to 14 or 15. And it was just like that throughout the whole entire second half. Just they couldn't make that gap. They just couldn't close it. And I think the gap happened because of those final 30 seconds in the second quarter. That's where they really lost the game. It's like a mental game. You can't make little mistakes like that against a team like Denver. You have to play a lot smarter, and that really cost them in this game. I would say their defense was terrible in this game. For the best defensive team in the league, Denver was able to shoot 57% from the field overall and 44 from three. You're not going to win a game doing that. So I think that was a huge blow for them. Jokic was great in this game. I think Jokic is now starting to figure out Minnesota. May have already figured them out. I meant to say he may have already figured them out because I felt the first two games in Denver, they were frustrating him. They were harassing him. He was taking some bad shots. Just he couldn't get into a good rhythm. He was just completely flustered by their smothering defense. He didn't look like his normal self. But in Minnesota, it's like he's come back alive. He seems rejuvenated. It seems like he's figured them out. Like he's like a cyborg. He's made his adjustments now. He's very comfortable against their defense, against their big bodies. He knows how to play the angles really well. So it's not like they can throw him off anymore. He knows when both big guys, whether it's Nas Reed and Cat, or it's Cat and Gobert, he knows where they're coming from. So even when they help, he just knows how to adjust them now. And you saw that with some of the amazing passes he made when he was trapped. He just knew immediately, just ahead of time, that certain events were going to happen. And then there were some demoralizing shots he hit on them. There's one play I was just laughing where he pump faked both I think Nas, Reed, and Cat at the same time on the baseline, and they fell for it. Excuse me, and then he hit the shot. That was hysterical. So he's confident against them now. And Murray, he was pretty good in this game. Just he gave them enough to be effective. I think Murray's figuring out how to be effective against them despite having this injury, but he looks more spry. Like again, it looks like his spryness has gotten better, his mobility's gotten better. Aaron Gordon was very underrated in this game. Just he was perfect. Just 27 points on nearly 90% shooting from the field, 6 assists. I thought Minnesota was stupid for double teaming him. That made no sense to me, and he punished them. He's a great passer out of the double teams in the post. 6 assists, 1 steal, 2 block. Just he was so great. Jokic will obviously outshadow him with his great game, but man, Aaron Gordon should get consideration for player of the game for this game. Just very underrated. I would say KCP didn't really score any points in this game, but defensively he was great. Just give him credit for that. Just he made some good adjustments. Michael Porter Jr. was very quiet in this game, but he didn't really have to do anything. He only had 4 points in the previous 3 games. I think he was averaging 20, so it didn't matter. Off the bench, I would say Justin Holiday, very underrated, just 10 points. I've said this before, the Nuggets need someone to at least get double digits off their bench to win these games, and they got it from him. And Christian Braun was very good today, 11 points. Reggie Jackson was solid. He hit back-to-back threes in the second quarter that really spurred a run for them. So overall, they got great production. When I look at Minnesota, the biggest thing I have to say is that Anthony Edwards showed up. He was great from start to finish. He was playing with great energy. He tried to will his team to win. It just wasn't good enough. Not his fault. Just you can't blame him. But the guy that really should be blamed is Cat. Just this guy has been crap these last 2 games. Just terrible. 13 points on 5 of 18 shooting. That's not going to cut it. He has to get something like 25 points, I think, for them to win this series. Just he needs to have a game where he's getting 25 points on 50% shooting. Just this guy's not doing enough on the offensive end. Just he has to do more. And it's weird because I felt game 2, he really attacked Jokic from the beginning, and he was playing with some extra energy. It was like he had some adrenaline rush knowing he had to play hyper aggressive because Gobert was not playing that game. And now with Gobert being back, he took his foot off the throttle, as they would say, or the gas pedal. He was too laid back in these last 2 games in Minnesota, and I think that's just not going to cut it for them. He has to be aggressive. He has to play like he's not going to have any help from Gobert and just go all out on both ends aggressively. I don't see enough of that. To me, he was the biggest reason why the Timberwolves were not able to win this game at all. So he has to be better. This will be interesting now to see game 5, how that turns out to be. I think Denver's going to win this series now. Obviously, just the momentum is on their side, but crazy things can happen. The series has been wild. So we'll see. I think Anthony Edwards has the right attitude heading into game 5. He doesn't seem fazed by it, but I don't doubt his confidence, but I doubt his team's confidence to deal with this adversity. So we'll see what they're made of.